At the table, I have joining me Dr. David Rice of Morehouse College. That is one thing that you do, but you are a man of many facets, and there are a lot of things that you're doing right now that are making such a tremendous impact in our communities. And so if you could just share with everyone who is Dr. Rice and speak to the impact and the purposeful work that you're doing.
Well, thank you. First of all, it's a pleasure to be here and to be in conversation with you, so thank you so much. I think I'm a college professor. I'm a father of two, and I'm a husband, a child of God, Brenda and Billy's son. So those are the things that really ground me and kind of give me a North Star for the type of work I do. I come from a family who are deep in terms of being educators, and my mom's a clinical psychologist. So the way that I kind of was built and put together has always been attached to community works. And I always like to talk about the work that I hope I'm doing is freedom work, making sure that everybody is enfranchised and has an opportunity to, be the best possible selves that they can be, given the devices that they should be afforded. So I do a lot of work in talking about identity. I'm a research psychologist, and I think that the better that people know themselves, the sharper tool they can be in terms of doing freedom work and being a part of democracy in a responsible way. Mm-hmm.
So really being able for people to hone in on their identity is such a critical thing that they're able to do, and that's not easy to do when we are molded and shaped by so many things other than what we know about ourselves. We have a lot of forces around us that are impressing upon us, this is who you are, this is how you need to be, and this is how you need to act. Yeah. And so we have rookies that are going to be coming into the National Football League. And for a very long time, they've been under systems at the colleges and universities that have told them this is what you need to do. Like the schedule, everything is so regimented. Mm-hmm. And so they're coming into the NFL, which still has a lot of rigidness from a schedule perspective. Mm-hmm. But even in structure, there is the ability to be able to understand who you are, so you just move differently in what you do. Can you speak to that? Like when you're in something, how do you not allow the thing to define who you are?
Oh, that's such a good and difficult question. It really is finding those things that really move you in an authentic way. So often there's a lot of kind of the way that I reduce what it is that you're talking about is there's a lot of noise out there that people kind of respond to. So who are you in those quiet moments? What defines you and what gives you purpose and direction? And in that you find kind of an authentic you that you can be faithful to. And I think in doing that, and there are a whole bunch of different ways to do that. I think it's important in terms of psychology, of course, to figure out how it is that you're intrinsically motivated instead of extrinsically motivated. What are the things that are inside of you that make you come alive instead of what are the things that you're kind of tap dancing or accommodating toward. But then also in those quiet moments, for me, religion and spirituality is so important because it gives you a center and a core that will not kind of betray you. So I think that in a space that can be regimented, where there are schedules, where you have people celebrating kind of the exterior of who you are, it's important for you to do the work with family, with friends, with those people that you really trust to figure out who the internal you is so that you can be faithful to that. And that'll help to kind of sustain you amid all of the noise and a lot of the madness that comes with being, the center point of a lot of things that are really inauthentically you know, because of what you've done on the field or because who you present yourself to be in the public eye. A lot of times people affix themselves to that instead of the core of who you are. So once you understand that and know that, and it's a responsibility you have, especially as you're stepping into this, you know, kind of maelstrom, once you understand who you are, it gives other people permission and direction to engage you accordingly.
Will you speak to some of the conversations that I have with people nowadays, because there is the list of things that we are really looking to eliminate from our society, especially where race is concerned. The list goes on and on and on. And quite frankly, you know, when you want to do something, you want to be a part of making the difference, but there's so much going on. Just the thought of it, of how do I make a difference? How do I plug into something and make a difference that's going to be a part of building stronger communities, right? As an athlete, so not only may that be a desire that you have, but then you look over here and you're like, but I also want to be the best athlete I could be. I want to be number one at what I'm doing. So is it possible for me to be able to invest over here and also invest in this part of my life and be successful here? How do I do both? What's a small thing that people can do to contribute to being a part of a movement, whatever that movement is?
I think, you know, that's going to depend on the person, right? And how it is that they are able to negotiate and balance. Striking balance becomes important. For many people, being an athlete is a calling. It's a part of who they are, and it's a way that they're able to be free. So it really is being authentic to yourself. So you want to make sure that you maintain that authenticity. And so often when we're talking about issues of social inequity, racial inequity, it can feel overwhelming, you know? And so you're like, how in the world am I going to how am I going to contribute? And one of the things my dad told me when I was younger, and I say it a lot in a lot of the public spaces that I'm able to speak in, is, you know, think globally and act locally. So what are discrete things you can do? Just being kind to people. If you're in the public eye, giving a smile and taking time with someone, that really does speak volumes because of the platform you have. So how it is that you comport yourself, the kindness that really is core to who you are, letting that shine and letting that lead a lot of the interactions that you have, it allows individuals to interpret you for good, bad, or indifferent in really positive ways, and helps for other people to generalize their understanding of you to other people who look like you and who might have similar experiences. So the idea is really about role modeling. How is it that you are true to yourself? How is it that you're authentic to who you are? And how is it that you do those small things that seem small to you, but really because of the platform you are on, they're very, very large, and it allows for a type of impact that you might not even be aware of. And then you build on that, and you see how that momentum kind of tends to drive and allow you to have stronger and stronger and more pronounced impacts.
I appreciate that. I appreciate you providing that perspective, because that is something that is a real struggle for people. You know, just really wanting to make a difference, and at the same time, while you're doing that, still be able to invest in the things that matter to you. And you said it so well in regards to the athletes and the calling that they feel. I know a lot of young men who believe that. I have a son who believes with all of his heart that that is who he is, that I was born to do this thing right here. And it's one of those things where he says it so convincingly, I believe that about him. And so what you're talking about is something that it needs to be said more often, to empower people to understand you don't have to let go of you to build community, because you are a part of community. Absolutely. And when you build you're contributing to making a stronger community.
That's absolutely right, because building an inauthentic you, it's the foundation upon which community is built. It's authentic yous, authentic selves. And if there's some fissure in how authentic you are, then that speaks to an inauthentic community. So first, you've got to work. And I know you've heard this before. We've all heard it, but it's such an important metaphor. Is if there's an emergency on an airplane and the air mechanism comes down, you put it over yourself first before you put it over your child or other folks, so you're able to be helpful. And so the thing is, how do you focus on yourself first? How do you make yourself the finest and sharpest tool that you possibly can be, so that you're prepared to contribute to community? So right off top, as a young person, especially as a young person who is still developing and defining and figuring out who you are, you have a responsibility to yourself before you start giving yourself away. Mm-hmm. Then when you have a solid understanding of who you are, then you lean into community more responsibly, and there's a more significant give back. There's a more significant impact that you're able to make.
Mm-hmm. So this is my final question. We are celebrating you today. You've done something, I don't know, your biggest dreams, they're coming true. What do we have on the menu? What are we eating at your celebration?
Stop playing. Oh no, you're not trying to hit me with that. So it's interesting. I was just talking to my son, and we always say, this or that is a game we play. And one of the things I asked him is, would you rather have, and this sounds so, would you rather have ribs or watermelon? I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Look, they taste good.
And so what I said is, we need to have both of them, right? We need to have both of those. And my grandma would always make, I want some salmon croquettes, and she would thinly slice cucumbers, put it in olive oil and vinegar with a little bit of sugar in there. Mm-hmm. I want that. So that's what's on my menu. So I'm thinking about my grandmama with all of those things, and feel good about being around family as a result of it.
Okay, I'm coming because I want all of that. Everything you mentioned, I want it.
That's all right. That's all right.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rice, for joining me at the table. I appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate you and the work you're doing. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right.